not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it comes to a ban on TikTok. So
demanding TikTok's Chinese parent company divest itself or face a potential nationwide ban.
With some pushing for a full-out ban of the social media app due to national security concerns.
There's another attempt to ban TikTok here in the United States.
TikTok is the most popular app in the United States, with an estimated 150 million people in the US using it monthly, which is almost half of the US population. But despite this popularity, the conversation surrounding a TikTok ban has been heating up, as US politicians have been threatening to pass legislation that would totally ban the social media app in the United States. The reason TikTok has been facing increased scrutiny is mainly because of its Chinese ownership and connections to the Chinese Communist Party. Because of this, there are growing concerns that the app is a national security risk. The US government has already forced federal employees to delete the app from government-issued devices, and has been talking about a total ban as well. And the US government looking to ban TikTok isn't a new idea either. The government has been threatening to ban TikTok since 2020, and this threat has spanned across multiple presidential administrations now. But despite the threats, just how likely is a TikTok ban to actually happen? Well, to answer this question, let's take a look at the facts surrounding the situation. The first question we should ask to determine how likely a TikTok ban is whether TikTok itself is actually worried about the possibility of a ban in the US. Because if the company itself thinks that there's a real possibility that they could be banned, then it gives a lot more credibility to the idea that a TikTok ban is likely. And the answer here is a definitive yes. TikTok is absolutely worried about a potential ban in the United States. And we can see this very clearly with TikTok's spending. The app and its parent company have spent over $13 million lobbying the federal government with very limited success. They are actively spending money to try to convince politicians to not ban the app. So they are absolutely concerned that a ban is a legitimate threat. In addition to lobbying politicians, TikTok appears to actively be spending money to influence public perception of the app as well. When I searched for TikTok on Google, the first paid search result was for a privacy page. And this is typically an unusual page to promote. Normally, you would expect social media companies to be using their advertising budget to promote something like a registration page to try to get people to sign up or join the app. After all, that's how they actually make their money. But instead, TikTok is spending their advertising money to promote a privacy page. They're doing this to try to convince the public that TikTok's privacy and data practices are safe. And the most obvious reason for why TikTok would be doing that is that they are looking to influence public perception to help them in their legal battle. And that's because they are concerned that a United States ban is a very real possibility. So now that we've established that TikTok is very worried about the possibility of a US ban and is actively spending money to try to stop it, let's now look at the current political landscape in the US regarding TikTok. The first thing to note is that TikTok's CEO was recently brought in for questioning by Congress in March, and the questioning was scathing to say the least. While Congress's understanding of the issue during the session was definitely questionable, it was still very apparent that TikTok does not have very many friends in Washington right now, as politicians from both parties were clearly telegraphing that they supported a ban. And that's a huge factor that could lead to a TikTok ban that should not be underestimated. Despite how contentious and divisive things are right now between the two political parties in the US, this TikTok issue is one of the rare instances where there is bipartisan support from both parties. That's not to say that there isn't debate about what a bill to ban TikTok should look like. For example, there are concerns among some that the bill being proposed at the moment, called the Restrict Act, will give the government too much power to control apps, and by extent free speech on the internet. But even though there's disagreement on the specifics of how TikTok should be banned and what legislation should be passed, there's generally bipartisan support for a ban of TikTok, and that does not bode well for the company. And that's not where TikTok's troubles end. It's really unlikely that politicians are going to be changing their minds on banning or restricting TikTok anytime soon, because it's frankly a relatively popular position to have. The American people are generally in favor of a ban, according to a survey by Pew Research Center. The study found that 50% of Americans support a TikTok ban, 22% oppose it, and 28% are unsure. Most of the opposition to a TikTok ban comes from Gen Z, which makes sense since they are the most active TikTok users. But every other age demographic favors a ban. Even 19% of self-identified TikTok users support a ban. So in addition to the legitimate concerns about TikTok's connections to China and the CCP, there's not a lot of reason or pressure for US politicians to go easy on TikTok, because banning the platform is a relatively popular position among the American people. This makes a ban much more likely. The other major aspect that needs to be considered is whether there are any alternate solutions outside of a ban that could fix the national security concerns and allow TikTok to stay in the US. After all, a creative solution could in theory help de-escalate the situation and allow the app to continue to operate in the US. For example, TikTok has been advocating for a plan to address the US government's concerns called Project Texas, where the company would house all US user data in a data center in Texas with oversight from the major United States company Oracle. However, this seems like it will not be enough to address the US government's concerns, and whistleblowers that have previously worked for TikTok claim that Project Texas would not do enough to secure US data away from China. So it doesn't seem like Project Texas will do enough to prevent the US government from favoring a ban. Another alternate proposal that has been suggested by the US government is that TikTok's Chinese parents sell the app and divest in order to avoid a ban in the US. But China's government has publicly responded to this ultimatum and made it very clear that they will not allow the app to be sold. So since neither Project Texas or a sale of TikTok is very likely, this is another element that's adding to the pressure for a ban. While it's impossible to know for sure what will happen, these factors are all working against TikTok and make a ban relatively likely. I personally think it's probable that there will be some form of legislation that will pass that aims to restrict or outright ban TikTok in the US. TikTok's best hope at that point would be to attempt to challenge the constitutionality of the ban in US court, but winning that case would likely be an uphill battle as well. There's some that believe that a US government ban of TikTok would be easy enough to bypass by simply using a VPN. But a ban would almost certainly prevent most people from accessing TikTok, even with using a VPN. The government would likely ask Apple and Google to remove TikTok from app stores, and they almost certainly would comply to avoid trouble. This would prevent new people from joining TikTok. And to prevent existing users from accessing the app, it's very likely that the US would force internet and wireless service providers to block TikTok. And the government would likely require VPN providers to blacklist the app themselves as well. While it's possible that especially tech-savvy people might be able to access TikTok in the US, the general population almost certainly will not be able to access the app if a ban is enacted. So if TikTok does actually get banned, what companies are likely to benefit the most? Believe it or not, if the United States ends up banning TikTok, they will not be the first country to have done so. India originally banned TikTok back in 2020, which drastically changed the app landscape immediately after this happened. So the trends that happened after India's ban give us a likely preview of who will immediately benefit from TikTok being banned. And the main winner from India's TikTok ban was Meta's Instagram. After the ban in June of 2020, Instagram's downloads in India skyrocketed, and it became the country's most popular social media app by the end of 2021. Both Meta and YouTube used the ban in India at the same time as an opportunity to test Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts before rolling out the functionality to other countries. Now that YouTube Shorts are available in the US, that makes Google another likely winner from a TikTok ban as a short-form vertical video alternative. But be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think a TikTok ban is likely to happen? And be sure to subscribe to the channel for more finance and investing content. Thanks.